What if a single vote could shake an entire government? Imagine this, a tense political night in Rome. Newsrooms are on edge, debates are heating up across TV studios, analysts are glued to their screens, and then suddenly one headline flashes everywhere. Referendum result. Government defeated. In that moment, everything changes. Because this wasn't just a policy loss, this was a direct hit to power. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is facing one of the biggest political challenges of her leadership, a moment that could redefine her authority, a moment that could reshape Italy's future, and maybe even influence the direction of Europe itself. First, let's understand what this referendum actually was. A referendum is a system where the public votes directly on a specific issue. No middlemen, no politicians deciding behind closed doors. The people decide. In Italy, this referendum focused on a key policy strongly backed by the government. And importantly, Giorgia Meloni tied this vote to her political credibility, meaning, if it passed, her leadership would become stronger. If it failed, it would be seen as a rejection of her authority. And that's exactly what happened. When the votes were counted, the result was unexpected. The public rejected the government's proposal. And this wasn't just a routine loss. It felt like a statement, a signal, that somewhere within the country dissatisfaction exists. Political analysts immediately began debating, was this a vote against the government or simply against one policy? The answer isn't simple, but one thing is clear. The Meloni government has received a strong and unmistakable message. To understand the weight of this moment, we need to go back. Giorgia Meloni became Italy's first female prime minister. Her rise was fast. Her image is powerful. She positioned herself as a strong, decisive, nationalist leader. Her party delivered a strong electoral performance, and she introduced a new political direction for Italy. Her key focus areas included national identity, immigration control, economic reforms. Because of this, she didn't just become important in Italy, she became a major voice in European politics. Now with this referendum defeat, the impact goes far beyond a single issue. The first major blow is to political credibility, because when a leader personally pushes an issue and the public rejects it, questions begin to rise about leadership, about strategy, about public trust, and that's exactly what's happening now. Italy's opposition parties didn't waste any time. They quickly turned this into a political opportunity. Their message is clear. The government is losing touch with the public. They argue this result reflects growing dissatisfaction, and now they are gaining momentum. Political rallies are intensifying. Statements are getting sharper. And on social media, the debate is louder than ever. This is no longer just Italy's internal issue. Across Europe, leaders and analysts are paying close attention. Why? Because Giorgia Meloni isn't just any leader. She has become an influential figure in European politics. Her policies impact broader discussions within the European Union. So when she faces a setback, the ripple effects spread. Some European leaders see this as a sign of strong democracy. Others view it as a warning of potential instability. Political uncertainty doesn't stay in politics. It moves into the economy. Investors prefer stability, and when uncertainty rises, the markets react. Italy is one of Europe's major economies, so any instability there can influence the entire Eurozone. Bond markets, stock markets, currency movements, all can shift based on political signals like this. At its core, this referendum reflects one thing: public sentiment. People voted and they made their voices heard. But interpreting that voice is not always easy, because not every no means rejection of a government. Sometimes it's about disagreement with a specific policy, lack of trust, poor communication, and economic frustration. Understanding this difference is crucial. Now comes the most important question: is this just a temporary setback or a turning point? History shows many leaders have lost referendums and still made strong comebacks. But it depends on what happens next, the response, the strategy, and the ability to rebuild trust. If the government adapts, listens, and addresses public concerns, recovery is possible. But if pressure keeps building, instability could grow. Modern politics isn't just about votes, it's about narratives, media coverage, social media debates, public perception. All of these shape how big an event becomes. Right now, the narratives are divided. Some call this a victory for democracy. Others call it a sign of political weakness. And this narrative battle will shape what happens next. Looking ahead, several scenarios could unfold. The government adjusts strategy and regains control. The opposition builds momentum and increases pressure. Discussions around early elections begin. The next few months will be critical. If we zoom out, this isn't just Italy's story. This is the story of changing politics in Europe, where voters are more vocal, more aware, more involved, and where leaders are constantly being tested. Every decision matters. Every vote counts. Politics is a constant test, sometimes through elections, sometimes through referendums, and sometimes through public opinion. For Giorgia Meloni, this moment is a challenge, but challenges define leadership. Now the world is watching. Will this setback be just a pause, or the beginning of a new political chapter? Because sometimes a single vote isn't just a result. It's a signal, and Italy has just sent one. The rest of the story is still being written.